Today we are talking about a certain golf shot which 99% of golfers hit on every hole, but unfortunately don't know how to do it properly. This is what people don't tell you about playing from the rough. Hi everyone, my name is James Robinson. Welcome back to Get Good at Golf. So you'll see here we're 220 yards out. We've got a long way in, we've hit a bad drive, and I've got a ball that's lying okay and a ball that's lying not okay. So I've got a 4-iron, that would be my kind of club from here. The beauty and the saving grace here, and this is what you have to be able to do, guys, you have to be able to read the room, read the lie and read the situation. So you'll see that the grass is actually going with us here. If this ball was in this cut here where the grass is actually going into here, that will make it a lot more difficult. Greenkeepers cut obviously usually in strips, so towards, backwards, stripes, strips, whichever, potato, but the fact that we're in this element of rough makes it a little bit easier because the rough's going with us. So I would anticipate a flyer here. This is what I call a hot lie, so it should come out with a little bit of low spin. This actually helps you. As long as you get your strike correct, you can hit whatever club you want within reason. You're not going to try and hit a 3-wood out of here. You might just get a hybrid out of it. But I've got the 4-iron, and I'm just going to play it like a normal shot. I'm going to make sure that I have a nice shallow takeaway, make sure I load up to the top properly, and then make sure I deliver enough loft. I'm not going to try and play a really punch shot because I need to get a little bit of loft there to help get the ball out of that rough. So we'll hit this first one, which is the good lie, and you should see that because the grass is going with us, it actually helps the club just continue its club head speed through the shot there. So I've hit that really nicely. I anticipated that. There's no real divot because I've got nice and shallow onto it and the ball's running up to the front edge of the green. That's a good shot for me. I don't expect to put it in the middle of the green from 220 yards out. I'm just happy to get back out into the fairway or just short of the green. Now the other shot, this one here, is a little bit different. Yes, it is with the grass still, but as you can see, it's just sat down a little bit more. So I'm going to have more loft here. I don't need to get a wedge out. It's not that bad, but I'm not going to try and hit the 4-iron. I'm just going to get myself back in play and get back close to the green as soon as I can. So that might mean going 6-iron. Now the ball could still jump out of here. It's unlikely because there's too much grass that can get in between the club face and the ball. So I'm going to get a little bit steeper. I'm going to pick the club up just a little bit more, and that's going to anticipate that I will hit down on it a little bit more as well. I'm going to make sure once I get to the top of the backswing, I move into my left side a little bit earlier. I feel like I'm going to play a little bit more of a trap shot or a stinger shot. Try and get that ball running out. This isn't a shot about yardage. This is a shot about claiming as much back from the golf course as I physically can, as you'll find when we get down to the green in just a moment's time. So this is a 6-iron. It's probably going to come out a little bit lower than a normal 6-iron. It's not going to have as much ball speed. It's not going to have as much spin, but it should still be able to do the shot for me there. Pretty good strike, a little bit more of a divot there, and that shot's come out nice and straight. Now I've probably got about 50 yards into this hole, but that's just taking your medicine and getting back in play. You try hitting a hybrid or a 7-wood or a driving iron from that kind of lie, you're talking double bogey, you're talking really, really bad shots, and you're talking not getting good at golf.
So obviously out of here, James, we often see one certain club used a lot, and what is that?
We do, we see a hybrid used out of here, or a rescue club. A lot of people thought this means, oh, the club's going to rescue me out of the rough, and that's actually why we did change it from the word rescue back to hybrid, because it's a hybrid club. It's designed for off the tee, it's designed for off the fairway, maybe a good lie in the rough. It's not designed to rescue you from the fescue or the really, really thick stuff, the kikuya. I believe that's another grass out there, so a little bit of knowledge from James there. But it's not designed for that, so you just need to get more loft on there. Maybe an 11-wood, maybe a 7 hybrid, something like that would be okay, but certainly not a 2 hybrid, a 3 hybrid, a 5-wood or a 3-wood. That won't work for you very well at all.
Okay, so similar to James, up in the rough, I was about to say up in the fairway, with a long iron. We've got 2 different lies here. So we've got one sat down just like this weekend's US Open.
It was a PGA, but we'll go with it.
Oh, PGA.
Was rough though.
It was a lot of rough, at least I got that right. And then we've got one nicely sat up. So often a lie that you get throughout the summer when the rough starts to get a little bit longer around the edge of the green. Sometimes it might sit on the top, sometimes it might sink down. We then need to think, what loft are we using and how are we going to play that? If we start with the one that is hovering above, this is somewhere where you could use a bump and run. So you could go to a 9-iron, you could go to a pitching wedge. We've got a lot of green here to work with. But if we was playing a short-sided shot, I could go to something like my 56 here and play this just as a normal chip shot. But one thing we've got to think about here and we see from a lot of amateurs is they rest the club down as normal, because you know in the fairway, you know, right, I've just got to set my club behind, and because this is sat on the top, that's going to encourage us to hit the top of the face. So we see a lot of people strike the ball around here and then it comes out dead. It comes off with no ball speed, it just gets over and you're like, oh, I've hit a great shot in, I've been a little bit unlucky, I've got away with a lie, but then I've played a poor chip shot. So here what we do is, even in our practice swings, is preset it being off the ground. So hovering the club. Start to do your practice swings exactly like you are going to when you come into the shot. If I was still going to go for the furthest flag here, or the only flag on this green, is I'm still going to hover that. I'm going to then make my motion, and we can see with a 56 I can still get the strike for that to pop up with a mid trajectory and have a good outcome. So nice and easy there. That's left me an uphill shot, but you'll see, although it was a little bit off the toe, it's coming out of the middle of the face. If I was to let that club sit on the ground, that'd be right at the top and coming out with no speed. So once we've got this lie, which we're going to get a lot at the moment because the grass is growing quicker than the greenkeepers can often cut it.
Jonesy.
Richard, that is you we are speaking about. We need to think about, what club do I need? Here I need a little bit of angle of attack, and I also need loft because I need to get it up and out of here. A lot of people come in here with a pitching wedge back of the stand, so I'll get it going, I'll drive it forwards, and it snags in this grass, it never really gets going. So we need loft and we need a downward angle of attack. And a lot of people say, I never use this golf club, but we've got James's favourite golf club, the 60 degree here, so there is a time and place for this, and by the looks of it, James has been striking it well.
I don't want to, yeah, I have. Thank you, Chris.
Not bad. Someone else must have
bunker shot on screen now from earlier.
Must have been Foxy using this. Right, so what we want to do is present a lot of loft. So I'm going to open the club face here, so we're going to get a little bit more loft, but what that also does is it works as a hydrofoil, as they told us at the PGA.
That was, we had to memorise that for exams, didn't we?
It was the main word we had to learn.
Hydrofoil through water.
But you see how this will split the grass and it will still go through. If we square that up, potentially that could snag and close, and then we know what happens. It goes left, it doesn't come out with speed. So what I want to do is get my weight on the left hand side, and in the takeaway we are also going to feel like we hinge that a little bit more up to create more of an angle of attack. We're going to hinge it up, not pick it up. We're going to hinge that up and then release that down into the golf ball. We can keep our speed, we've got plenty of loft and open club face, and from here, nice and positive, not a huge swing, and it has run out nicely there and gone closer than the one I hit off the top. But like James mentioned before, we'll see that it doesn't mean just because it's sat down and I've got it open, I've got to make a full swing. You see there, that was nice and compact and nice and short. We keep the speed through impact. We don't have it in a long backswing, because we see a lot of people decel into that golf ball. It snags, it doesn't come out how we want, and that's not going to help you get good at golf.
Expertly done by Chris there in the thick rough. He knows well how to do that, because that is where he spends a lot of his time when we play our matches. But if you miss the green ever so slightly and you're in the semi-rough here, so this is kind of not really deep rough, but you wouldn't want to put it, there's so many shots you could play. You could play a 7-iron bump and run, you could play a little 7 wood, a little hybrid, anything to get it moving. If you do want to generate a little bit of spin here, you can still do that. It's probably not the percentage shot, but we're going to show you how to in this video, because it's very, very fun, and that's what golf should be. So I've got the two clubs here. I've got the 60 degree, which is my favourite club in the world, and a 56. You might think, oh, for spin, I know I need to use the 60 degree. I need as much loft as possible. Now, we actually did this earlier on. We were playing a match, and I got the 60 degree out, and I tried to play a shot and spin it just to the flag, and I've played a good shot there. It's come out nice and high. It's tried to grab, but it's just run through, as you can see there. That's not a bad shot. It's left me around 6 feet. But if I really want to try and get a little bit of spin, I'm going to go less loft, and I'm just going to try and have a shorter swing and feel like I just rotate the club around and saw off the finish. I want to make sure I get that strike absolutely perfect. So just because I'm in the semi-rough doesn't mean I can't get a little bit of spin here. I'm going to make sure there's no moisture on the ball or the club. From here, feel like I work that club around. You can see that's checked a lot more. It had the same landing area, but it's run up nicely to a foot instead. So just by changing the club and just having a little bit of a shorter motion, the ball comes out lower with a little bit more spin. That's a gorgeous golf shot if you want to impress your friends and get good at golf.